up, y'all? So today we're going to be talking about charged off accounts. These things typically fall under your derogatory accounts on your credit report. They could be credit cards, car loans, things like that. Basically, this is the status of an account that's on your credit report. So for those of you who don't know what charge off is or what a charge off is, it's basically when a company just kind of comes to the terms or just comes to the realization that you, the consumer, is not going to pay this debt because you've become so delinquent on this particular account that they just write it off. I also want to say this before I even start talking about how you can dispute charge offs or things like that or getting those deleted off your account. Before you dispute anything, make sure you know your state statute of limitations, because I don't want you saying, okay, I was watching LifeWithMC and she gives credit tips, credit repair tips here and there, and she said to dispute this charge off account, and then you get sued. So look, man, look, woman, you need to look up your state statute of limitations before you dispute anything, and make sure those have passed before you try to dispute an account, because some companies will sue you. Some won't, but some will. So definitely know that before you just go on a disputing spree, especially with, credit cards, car loans, things like that. Like, just be mindful. Just Google whatever your state is and then put SOL or statute of limitations. So if I'm looking at it, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I want to stay on task and I want this video to be short and quick and to the point. So let's say you have a car loan. Now these are some ways that you could dispute a charged off car loan. Basically, if this account 9 times out of 10 has a balance. Some people's car loans balance could, it could be 1,000 to 20 something thousand. Like, it just kind of varies. But you need to note this, that if an account is charged off, it should not be accruing interest. The company has already written the account off. They've already been compensated for their loss. They shouldn't be continuing to add fees to this particular account. And if they are, and you notice it, you need to file a CFPB complaint. Those are really easy to do. You just Google CFPB and, you can put CFPB complaint, and then it'll take you right to that where you can file a complaint. But you also need to have proof that the balance has changed, meaning that you have a 1099. And if you don't have it, all you have to do is call the company and request a 1099. From there, since you have that proof, and then you can show that interest has been added to the balance, and that could be grounds for deletion, because a lot of companies don't want you to pursue any type of legal action, but you need a 1099 to show proof. And then you also need, whether it's your credit report that you saw that the interest has been getting charged, to like your updated credit report. You can continue to see that every time your credit report is being updated. It's not just saying that, it's normal for the months to say charge off, but the balance shouldn't be changing each month because the account is charged off. Most charged off accounts, they still update. January charged off, February charged off. They'll update as the years go on, but the balance should not change. And if your balance is changing, if you don't have a 1099 already, all you have to do is call the company and request one. This is not you basically owning up to any type of debt or anything like that, but you need this anyway. The account was charged off, whether the account was repossessed or voluntarily, involuntarily, you should have the information. Okay, let's turn to the next tip. So another way that you can get charge off your credit report, this could be a car loan or a credit card. You should try to settle the account, and I would offer anywhere from 15 to 20% to start. You should always do this in writing. I would never do anything over the phone, because I would hate for you to make a payment, they accept your payment, and then they don't delete the negative information off your credit report. Paying a derogatory account is not good if it's just going to stay on your account. Like, I would only pay a derogatory account if I had something in writing that said, if I agree to pay this account, then you agree to delete it off all the credit reports or the credit bureaus that it's reporting to. Like, that's the only way that I would pay for anything derogatory. That's it. Otherwise, I would dispute. Like, I would find inaccuracies in the account. I wouldn't necessarily just dispute account that I know was mine, but if I found things that were wrong with it, then I would dispute it. But just on this particular step, settling, offer anywhere from 15 to 20% to start, that's on you. Whatever you want to offer is on you. You could offer more or less. It's completely up to you and what's in your budget and what you can pay right then. But I wouldn't give them any money or anything. I wouldn't give them my debit card number, banking information, nothing, if I didn't have anything in writing that says, once we accept your payment, we will agree this from all reporting credit agencies. Like, don't send them a dime, because even if you pay, it still has that same negative effect on your credit. It'll just say paid charge off, and it's still going to be a derogatory account. Like, unless they update the payment history and remove all negative remarks, which a lot of them don't do, they just update the status to paid collection or paid charge off, then it doesn't help. So offer a settlement, negotiate something on your terms that fits within your budget, and then get it in writing that they will delete, but don't send any money until they agree in writing that they will delete once they receive payment. And if they don't acknowledge this letter, if they don't respond to you back in 10 days or whatever the terms are, I have no recollection of this letter. I never sent this letter. I don't know what this debt is. And then you would just pursue it that way. I'm going to seek a debt validation to see what is this debt. You know, if they don't agree to do what you say, then I have no knowledge of this account. Ever. Not never. You know, like that. Like, just talk to these people. These are people that you're talking to. So talk to someone like you would want them to talk to you. Like, you don't have to be rude or anything, but just say what you want in your letter to get the outcome that you desire. All right, number 3, a factual dispute. And basically what this is where you have your TransUnion report, Experian report, your Equifax report right in front of you, and we are looking at one particular account. Let's say Ford, for example, and we're looking at our Ford account. The date on TransUnion says January 23rd, 2015. The date open on Equifax says February 15, 2016. The date on, what did I say first? The date on Experian says January, like 23rd, 2014. All the dates are different. Okay, we found an inconsistency with the dates open. So you can dispute based off that inconsistency. Like, everything must match. Let's look at the balance section. Ooh, the balance on TransUnion is $10,000. The balance on Equifax is $7,000. The balance on Experian is $4,000. Wow, another inconsistency. Let's say the balances, they did match, the dates match, but the payment history was incorrect. If you have some proof that the payment history, you know, like, I made a payment on this date, it wasn't late then, or this is wrong. Like, you have to go through and find things that are wrong, because people that are updating the credit reports are also human, like, and they make errors. But just look for inconsistencies. Sometimes the dates, sometimes things will match to the T, everything, and you won't find anything wrong. That's when you can send things like debt validation, debt verification, things like that to them, because at the end of the day, it's not your responsibility to validate this debt or try to prove that the debt is yours, it's theirs. So you put all the work on the collection agency, on the credit bureaus, on the whoever is reporting or saying that this information is yours. It's not your responsibility to ever own up and say, this is my debt. Like, don't do that. Make them work. And this applies to like voluntary repos, involuntary repos, credit cards. Also, know your repo laws as far as like your charged off car loans. A lot of times companies won't update to repossess. They'll just leave the account charged off. And we'll take that. You know, that's much better than a repo, the account being labeled repossession, because that can knock your score down just as bad as a bankruptcy can, like hundreds of points it can knock you down. You have to make these people work. They're getting paid to keep reporting bad information about you. So they're not going to say, oh, this was wrong. This person wasn't late on this date, so let's correct that. They're not going to do that. They are getting paid to make sure that the information that's on your credit report, if it's inaccurate or accurate, it's not their responsibility to go and say, this is wrong, let's fix that. They're not going to do it unless you point it out. So a lot of you have a lot of things on your credit report that is easily disputable, but because you feel like it's a challenge, you don't touch the account, or you just let it stay there and just, you know, wait for it to come off. But like a lot of these collections and things like that on people's account, like, they could come off easily with a debt validation letter if you would send it to the collection agency and stop throwing that letter away. You know, if you weren't so scared to make us settle for a charged off account, that could be deleted off your account in no time. Moving along. So you have a charged off account, it has a zero balance, but the account is reporting also in your collection section with a balance. So what you would do on this particular account, because basically if your charged off account is reporting a zero balance, that basically means that the account was sold. And so that other account, it may or may not show on your credit report, but for those of you, it does show on your credit report. Like maybe you had a First Premier Bank card, it was charged off maybe $400 and something, and now the balance is zero, but you have the collection account, ABC Collections, with they own the First Premier Bank debt now, and it's reporting the $400 or whatever. Send a debt validation letter to ABC Collection. Basically, you're asking them, whose debt is this? Who says I have to pay you? Do you have any contracts bearing my name? How do you know that this is my debt? Can you prove this is my debt? Can you prove that I owe you? Why do I have to pay you? You know, things like that. Like, just ask them questions. That's all you have to do. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of these collection agencies cannot give you any original contract bearing your signature. So you know what that means with the debt? They close the account and they delete the debt. And then once that collection has been deleted, it is so much easier to get that charged off account off your credit report. Or let's say they do validate the debt. If you sent the collection agency a debt validation letter, this is when you would do a pay for delete. So you will offer them amount, because we are not paying them the full amount. We're going to offer them a settlement amount, and in agreement, is it agreement? Yeah, they're going to delete the account off your credit report. Simple as that. And now they got their money. Well, they got a piece of it, and we got a cleaner credit report. And that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much all I can think of, honestly. If there is anything else that I left out pertaining to charged off accounts that you feel like I didn't hit on, please leave a comment below.